All right, y'all, we back with another ABP reaction right here on the ABP Network. This one right here is called A Father's Vengeance, 24 hours after his son was killed on camera in Cincinnati. This case is going viral right now. Let's get into it. Let's find out the details, what's been happening. Let's see why in 24 hours did the father respond. Well, we know why, but let's see how and what is the results of what happened. Let's go.
News today, Cincinnati police sharing new details about a chase that led to a suspect being shot and killed by police over in East Price Hill.
The mayor and Cincinnati's police chief sharing body camera video of the incident.
This all unfolded very, very quickly. We're talking about 6 seconds from the time that officer got out of his vehicle until he shot and killed that armed suspect.
Damn, 6 seconds.
On an incident that you're aware of, I'm sure happened earlier this afternoon, approximately 1 p.m. We had an auto accident at Martin Luther King, Burnett Woods Drive, where a Hamilton County deputy was struck. He was outside his vehicle conducting traffic enforcement. He was struck by a vehicle. It saddens me tremendously to make you aware that he has since passed.
All right, fam, I'm going to need you to try your best to hold your opinion to the end. This a lot, and I'm going to say this out the gate. None of us can't truly fathom losing our child until it happened. Now, the situation we talk about today is less than 24 hours old. Today, we're going to Cincinnati. We're talking about a man, a dad, who decided to take matters in his own hands. Less than 24 hours before his situation, his son was gunned down by authorities, which we'll later check out and play body cam footage. This dad decided to take matters in his own hands and took the life of a police officer the next day. Today we go over this story, go over the details, see what truly happened, pay our respects, and see where we stand today. But before we go over this one, I want you guys to remember, I don't give you no angle, I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're gonna jump right to it. A Hamilton County Sheriff's deputy has died after being hit by a car driven by the father of a man who was killed by Cincinnati police the day before. Cincinnati police chief said during a news conference that the sheriff's deputy, whose identity was not released, was hit by a car being driven by the father of an 18-year-old Ryan Hinton. The crash happened around 1 p.m., May 2nd, 2025. The crash come a day after police fatally shot Hinton in East Prince Hill during a car theft investigation. Here's the facts. You see, the crash occurred around 1 p.m., just a few hours before the beginning of graduation ceremonies for the University of Cincinnati. It happened near the corner of Martin Luther King Drive in the CUF neighborhood, north of University of Cincinnati's campus. The deputy was outside of his vehicle, operating at a traffic light, when a car driven by Hinton's father, Ronnie Hinton Jr., entered the intersection and struck them. The deputy and Hinton's father were transported to the hospital in critical condition. The deputy later died. May he rest in peace, and love and condolences to his family. Traffic on Martin Luther King Drive was closed for several hours after the crash. The road reopened shortly after 6 p.m. Now, though the deputy name has not been identified, authorities say he recently retired from Hamilton County Sheriff's Office and was working a special detail by directing traffic for the graduation. Quoting, "The officer was just out doing his job," end quote. 38-year-old Rodney Hinton Jr. was arrested and charged with aggravated murder. So now we got that squared away. Let's go back.
Dang, so the cop was retired, he ran over. And he just came out there to help out with a graduation. Dang. You done made it through the force, he done retired. It's bad on both sides. This nigga just lost his son. He ain't even 24 hours in of the pain and agony and all that he's feeling and mental, the thoughts he's having in his head. I don't know how close him and his son was, but for him to react like that, he had a super tight bond with him, I would think. It don't sound like a deadbeat would react like that. So I'm going to say, you know, maybe we're going to learn more as we watch this video, but I feel like they had a tight bond, and they both took a loss. Everybody took a loss this day. Both parties took a loss.
Back 24 hours. On May 1st, 2025, the day before the fatal crash, Cincinnati police went to an apartment complex in East Prince Hill after learning a stolen vehicle was found there. 4 suspects, who police believe stole the car, took off running into the woods, some in different directions. One officer chased 18-year-old Ryan Hinton, who was seen holding a firearm. Allegedly, the officer called out twice that Hinton had a firearm, but the suspect tripped but continued to run between two dumpsters with the firearm in his hand before he encountered another officer. The other officer was pursuing someone else when the armed suspect emerged from between the dumpsters. The body cam footage, which you'll later check out, showed the officer fire 4 to 5 rounds at the suspect as he ran into the officer's direction. But here's the huge concern here. The officer said in an interview that the suspect pointed a firearm at him, but that allegation can't be confirmed because the body cam footage was blurred as he was running. But check it out. So
yesterday morning, following a report of a stolen vehicle, Cincinnati police officers were involved in a shooting in East Price Hill that resulted in the death of one man. I'm here with Police Chief Teresa Thigi, Councilmember Scotty Johnson, City Solicitor Emily Smart-Warner, and Assistant City Manager John Brzezina. We as a city take the loss of life extremely seriously in every circumstance. It is always a tragedy, and it's a tragedy here today. And the processes we have in place because of the collaborative agreement are here to ensure transparency and clarity as we move forward. At the top, I want to thank our police department and all the first responders for their work to keep surrounding residents safe during this incident and during the ensuing search for the remaining suspects. As with every officer-involved shooting, there will be an investigation into this incident with the Citizens Complaint Authority and CPD running parallel investigations. As always, we are committed to a thorough process in accordance with the collaborative, and I am confident that the CCA, our police department, and our city administration will direct these investigations with transparency and clarity. Thankfully, all the responding officers were unharmed. Thank you, and I will now invite Teresa Thigi to speak.
Where the body cam footage, man?
Thanks for joining us today. Before I start with the presentation itself, I want to say, when an incident like this one that happened yesterday occurs, the impact is felt long after the moment itself. The emotional toll doesn't end quickly. It lingers with the families, the officers, and the community for an extended period of time. Officers across the country confront dangerous situations every day, sometimes more than once a day. They are often compelled to make split-second decisions to protect others and themselves when faced with immediate threats. Yesterday was one of those occurrences. Let me be very direct. We cannot allow individuals to flee from officers with a loaded firearm aimed at them. When this happens, the outcome is almost always tragic. No one wins, and everyone involved is affected. As I review the sequence of events from yesterday, you'll see exactly how rapidly these things evolved, and it will permanently alter the lives of everyone involved.
Right. All right, what we got going?
So to give you an idea, this is 2500 Warsaw. I'm going to step out in front for a minute. Warsaw Avenue is down here. This is the long driveway. It goes up a hill. Where the incident occurred is at the dead end of the parking lot back here. You'll see vehicles there now. You'll see a photo. The stolen car that we're going to talk about was backed into a parking spot back there. As you can see, this is a stolen Kia. It was stolen out of northern Kentucky yesterday. You can see we have 2 uniformed cars there. Prior to those uniformed cars arriving, we had 2 undercover cars that pulled into that dead end, saw the vehicle. They backed out. They saw that there were individuals inside the vehicle, so they backed out and let the uniformed cars make the approach, which is the tactically sound decision to do. The cars are positioned the way the officers are trained. We are trained to use our vehicles as cover from any threat. That's what those officers did with the cars at that time. This is body-worn camera from officer number 2. Go ahead, Bobby.
All right, come on, let's see.
gun. He's got a gun on your right. On your right. He's got a gun.
Damn. Oh, well, we can't see it.
So just to give you an idea, we have the 2 uniformed cars. We have 2 officers. There's 4 individuals in the stolen vehicle. All 4 individuals get out and start running, some in different directions. So officers decide which individual they're going to pursue. One officer decides to pursue the individual who we now know had a firearm in his hand. The other officer pursued another occupant that fled from the vehicle, and that'll be significant here in a moment when you see. So this is a still image. Again, I'm going to step out front. The car is parked over this way, okay? They are chasing the individual. So officer number 1 is chasing this guy right here, okay? This is the guy we ultimately end up shooting. The other officer who actually fires the shot on this individual is chasing a different individual further out this way, in this direction, okay? As this officer is chasing him, he sees a firearm in his hand, and he yells, "Gun, gun, he's got a gun." This individual slips, trips, whatever, falls on the concrete right here. Other officers that were also there say in their interview, they heard the firearm hit the concrete. They heard the metal from the firearm hit the concrete. This individual gets up, still has the firearm in his hand, and continues to run through the dumpsters. Go ahead, Bonnie. So these are some still
these
photos.
cops be painting pictures with these videos, aren't they?
Him with the firearm in his hand.
They're going to make it justified.
He runs through the dumpsters. This officer knows that there's another officer here that is going to ultimately encounter him when he comes through the dumpsters. So he makes him aware of that. He shouts out to him, "On your right, on your right." He's on your right. And that's where this individual comes out from between the dumpsters. This is the other officer, the one who fires the shot. This is his body camera as he approaches the scene.
Damn.
This is the firearm that was recovered at the scene after the individual was shot. This is what he had in his hand while the officers were chasing him. It's just a photo of it here at Criminalistics. Remember I told you he fell on the concrete and the officers said that they heard the metal hit the ground? There are 3 spots on here where this gun has scratches on it. We believe those occurred when he hit the ground with the firearm.
What type of firearm is that, Chief?
Semi-automatic. I don't know the make and model. This is a second. Sorry, Bobby, can you go back 1 frame, please? This magazine was in the firearm. That's an extended magazine, so it holds more rounds. Go ahead. This is a second magazine that was located in his sweatshirt.
I gotta hear another side to this story, man. This is just the cop side. They always gonna make it justified for themselves. They was in the right.
This is another firearm that
I gotta hear another side of the story.
Vehicle. This is a firearm that was also stolen out of northern Kentucky sometime yesterday, early yesterday morning. Approximately, we believe, based on timelines, this was stolen from a vehicle in northern Kentucky, and then they went on to steal the vehicle that's involved in the incident. So because we are still attempting to 100% verify the individual's identity, the individual who we shot, we're going to list him as John Doe until we can 100% verify that for you. The other 3 individuals that were in the car all ran. This was an extensive search for these individuals. I don't know if anybody's familiar with 2500 Warsaw. It is steep terrain, both directions from that parking lot, heavily wooded. They ran into that area in different directions, and we happen to have as hours of the day that we had several canines available and our drone operators available. So we deployed both of those, got some assistance from community members who were calling us, and we ultimately apprehended this gentleman as well as this gentleman.
The one got away.
We still have another person we're looking for. We are attempting to positively identify him, and we'll continue to search for him. As you know, per Marcy's law, we're not going to reveal the officers' names, the officers who were involved, but here is their information. Been on almost 11 years, fugitive apprehension. Been on almost 24 years, fugitive apprehension. This is the scene afterwards. I want to point out this incident, from the time they bailed from the vehicle and police were chasing them to the time the individual was shot, 6 seconds. 6 quick seconds. But the officer's responsibility didn't end there. They did very admirably trying to save this gentleman's life by administering different variations of
5
medical aid
shots,
until the
and
fire
y'all trying to save
department
his life.
responded.
That was shoot to kill, brother.
This is the, you can see the medical debris, and then this is where the firearm was. Okay,
That was
take
shoot
a
to
few
kill for sure.
questions.
The suspect, it was very difficult to see, really shows how volatile the situation is. But it was difficult for us to see if the suspect
Had the gun.
pointed his gun
Right.
at the officer, or whether he just had a gun and was shot because he had a gun. Can
Right.
you tell why the officer shot the suspect?
Yeah. So just to kind of give you a frame of reference, the individual is running with a firearm in his hand. The officer is running, so the body camera is kind of jolting as the officer's running. What that leaves us with is a very blurred image, unfortunately. However, based on the officer's interviews, the officer who did discharge his firearm said that when the individual came out between the dumpsters, he had the firearm in front of him. It was in like a bladed position, and it was pointed at the officer.
Of course he's going to say that. He killed him. But do we know? Y'all can't even confirm it. Y'all, oh, it's blurry. Of course it's blurry. Of course he's going to say they pointed the gun at him. Like, come on, man.
And he felt threatened for his life, and that's why he discharged his firearm.
How many times did the officer discharge firearm?
We believe 4 or 5.
And hit him?
We believe twice. And I do want to clear up, based on information that we received, the individual was struck in the chest. It exited out the back. He was struck in the arm. We believe it went through his arm and into his side. So those were the two rounds that hit him.
There was no indication that he fired his gun?
No.
Correct. No indication.
No, he didn't fire his gun. It wasn't pointed at the...
But I would like to add a caveat. We do not expect the officers to wait until they're fired upon before they feel the necessity to fire.
Is there like a standard protocol for how many times an officer, when someone else is pointing a gun at them, how many times an officer should fire upon the person?
They are trained to stop the threat.
So there's no standard number of times to shoot?
No. No. Until they feel their life is no longer in danger.
So I'm going to go back to the original question. So, Chief, would it be standard protocol to shoot a suspect if they are armed with a handgun and running if the firearm were not threatening the officer directly?
Yeah. So this is where we have to go to the state of mind of the officer at the time. What are they seeing, feeling, hearing? If they feel like their life or somebody else's life is in danger, they have a responsibility to stop that threat. So I can't answer how every situation should be resolved. It's based on the officers, and some of that includes their training, their experience, their tenure, things like that.
So the officer says that he saw the suspect point the firearm at him.
Yes.
Does the video and or other officer testimony
I'm not going to get into that now.
I
You
bet.
saw the video. This is
I
what we
bet
have
you
to work
not.
with. Because it is an ongoing investigation. I'm not going to get that far into details right now.
I bet you not.
Speak to what alerted officers to the stolen vehicle at this apartment complex. I know that's why they responded initially. Can you say what prompted that response?
Yeah, so this is a stolen vehicle out of Edgewood, Kentucky, yesterday morning, and it has GPS capability. So the owner of the vehicle notified us, as well as they called 911, but that, because they were in Northern Kentucky, that call went to Northern Kentucky. So it was the vehicle owner's capability to track it via GPS.
Got killed over a Kia truck, man. Damn. Young life gone.
Suspects had a connection to this apartment complex specifically, or why they were there?
Yeah, we do not have any indication right now as to whether or not they have connection to that complex. It seemed to be quite a quiet, nice complex.
You found 2 handguns. One of them you said was stolen at approximately the same time the car was stolen. How about the other one?
So we believe the firearm that was stolen approximately 6:30 a.m. yesterday morning somewhere in Northern Kentucky. The vehicle we believe was stolen maybe a couple hours later,
What about
again
the gun?
in Northern
The other
Kentucky. But that's all we know.
Which of the firearms was the stolen firearm?
The one that was left in the car, not the one that the deceased had.
Do you know the origin of the one that the deceased had?
Not yet. We still have our investigators working on that.
Chief, do you have any update on the search for the suspect?
There you are. We do. We're working, like I said, to identify him, and we will use whatever resources we need to try to locate him.
So one gun was left in the car. The gun that was stolen, allegedly right before the car, was left in the car. The other kid, they're saying, hopped out with the gun in hand, ran, hid behind some dumpsters, and then ran out and pointed the gun at the cops. But they're saying they're saying that's what the story was told, that's what the other cops confirmed, and that his body cam was jumping, so it was blurry. Now, what does it sound like? Okay, why the other person didn't hop out with the gun? See, this is why I be questioning stuff like this. Like, why the other person didn't hop out with the gun? If that's what they was on, let's take out these guns and hold them in our hands and run it and shoot at the police if they come. Or could it be the other gun was in the car too, and they placed the gun in that boy's hand because it wasn't fired. The video doesn't show anything. They don't know that they placed the gun. It was his gun or one of their guns, and they placed the gun right there. It could be that too. Who knows? It gets tricky, man. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody look at police like they're not liars or like they won't do nothing like that, and they just 100% truthful. Shit, these cops be under pressure. Like, hold on, man, I moved too fast. I thought it was a gun. Shit, let's go see if it's a gun in the car. All right, let's put this one right there. Here goes one. He was sitting in the back seat. His prints, let's put it back. You know what I mean? Let's put it back there. Let's put it by him. Ain't nobody gonna know. I'm telling you, man. Shit, what the fuck, nigga? Because they know what happened, nigga. If they lie, nigga, he gonna get jail. That police gonna get jail time. That police gonna get fined. That police, whatever gonna happen. Like, they don't want to get in trouble either. Shit, it's a two-way street.
Can you talk about how the 2 suspects were apprehended, where they were apprehended, and what
Yeah, so they're quite agile. They covered a lot of ground. Like I said, it's heavily wooded and it's quite a terrain, hilly terrain. One of them I know made their way up towards the Summit area, still in East Price Hill. They were all still in Price Hill, but I don't know the exact addresses where they were apprehended. We used a lot of resources to locate them.
So the fact is that there have been 6 officer-involved shootings, 4 fatal in the last 6 weeks. Not with your department alone, obviously. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Damn. They out there clapping shit. 6 shootings, 4 fatal in a month and a half. Right.
Yeah, so I can't speak to the ones that occurred outside of the city limits. My message would just be, unfortunately, this is a potential outcome when you interact with police and you are armed with a weapon, whether it's an edged weapon, a firearm, or if you fail to comply, you're armed and you fail to comply with what an officer says, this is where we end up. And it is unfortunate, it is preventable, and no officer wants to go through this. I don't want families to go through this, but at the end of the day, we have to provide the safest city that we can provide.
Last question.
The officers knew before rounding that dumpster that he was armed, because the other officer had yelled out, and also he had fallen in front of the dumpster. You'd heard they'd heard the weapon. Was there any other option, like when they realized he was armed, than going around the side of the dumpster to confront and chase down the suspect, knowing he was armed? Like, I mean, it wasn't like he was running into a crowd of people. It was an empty wooded
Okay.
area.
All right. If you recall what I said, though, that officer who fired was actually chasing a different suspect when he encountered the individual armed with a firearm. And again, total 6 seconds. So
6 seconds, bro. So she's trying to make it seem like he was chasing him a long way. 6 seconds is literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By this time, the cop is like, hey, hey, hey. So as soon as he turned around, the other guy running towards him, and he just busts on him. Bah, 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 bah. That's not even like, she keeps saying like, oh, he was chasing the other cop, like the other kid. Like, I don't even feel like that's a good takeoff. 6 seconds, that's not a lot of time. Depending on how fast they running. They gotta be doing some fast ass running. Nigga 6 seconds and 40 yards or something. Like, they gotta be going fast. But I don't know, man. This shit, it don't feel like it's adding up to me. But I would have to see more details on it. But it doesn't feel like, it feel like just a cop saying like the easiest shit possible to cover this up. Like, he had a gun in his hand, he pointed at me. Do I believe he had a gun in his hand? I'm 50-50. Yes, I'm 60-40. Okay. But do I believe he pointed it at the cop? That's the part. Did he point it at the cop? I don't think he pointed at the cop.
for them to process and determine a different course of action, I think is unreasonable.
Chief, that's 6 seconds from apprehension to the shots being fired off?
I'm sorry?
That's 6 seconds from the apprehension to the shots being
No, 6 seconds from the time they pulled up and the people jumped out of the car to the time that he was shot.
This is a chief.
You said there was a magazine in the weapon. The picture showed a round above the weapon. Was there a round in the chamber as well?
Yeah, that is normally how our criminalistics will process it. If there's one in the chamber, they will take it out, and then they will also display rounds that were in the magazine.
So there was a round found in the chamber then?
I would have to ask the investigators for confirmation of that, but I believe so.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's another important question. Was there a round in the head? Was there a round in the head? Because why would he point a gun that's not cocked? Or a gun that's not loaded, like with one in the chamber? See, that's what I'm saying. I got to hear more details. I got to hear more details so I can make a justified response. But that's just me. Your response might be different. Your reaction may be different to what's going on. But it's hard believing cops just because they're cops. Like, these niggas lie. They lie worse than criminals. So, I don't know.
All right. Thank you. Update on an incident that you're aware of, I'm sure, happened earlier this afternoon, approximately 1 p.m. We had an auto accident at Martin Luther King, Burnett Woods Drive, where a Hamilton County deputy was struck. He was outside his vehicle conducting traffic enforcement. He was struck by a vehicle. It saddens me tremendously to make you aware that he has since passed. I think what is significant for people to know about this accident is the officer was just out doing his job, directing traffic up near the University of Cincinnati for what was supposed to be a glorious day for many. What is significant also to know about this auto accident, as you know, we had a critical incident yesterday in the city of Cincinnati, an officer-involved shooting at approximately 9 a.m. yesterday morning. There is a connection between these two incidents. The driver of today's vehicle that struck a deputy has a family relationship with the 18-year-old that we shot yesterday.
No bond hearing, yes. So like we're asking that you hold it with no bond right now until the hearing on the 6th, to when we will present evidence in order to satisfy the burden of the 2937-222. We're going to be asking to hold the bond at that point.
So you all will review those statutes. Rules of evidence won't apply.
Yes, Your Honor.
In that hearing.
Yes, Your Honor.
So the court will now set no bond until Tuesday.
Like all them cops in there. It's a whole row of them. They all in there. I get it. They come in there to support their own intimidation. Show support, but it's really intimidation and showing support. To intimidate them, to show force. That could sway the judge too, letting you know, like, hey, this is important to us. Judge, if you side with him, we ain't gonna look out for you. You know what I mean? Come on, man. But look, let's keep watching.
Review the statute for a continuing no bond under these unusual and very tragic and terrible circumstances. Where will the defendant be housed, and will he be safe? And I ask that because he was transferred, as I understand it, to Clermont County yesterday. That's correct. On my order. That's correct. And will he be returned to Clermont County until Tuesday?
It's our understanding he will be returned to Clermont.
And you have a safe environment for him there in Clermont County?
Yes, sir.
You'll return him on Tuesday, May the 6th at 8:30 a.m. for a hearing at 9 o'clock in the morning?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, for the record, we'd ask the court to put a bond on him now, but we understand that it's not a bond hearing.
All right, no bond.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They said no bond.
We can hold him at no bond for 72 hours, is that right?
That's correct.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
No bond.
Rodney Hinton Jr. appearing to show no remorse for that alleged attack as he was being escorted out of the courtroom. He appeared to shout at deputies he's going to be gone forever, though it's unclear if he's referring to the deputy that he's accused of killing or his son, who was killed by a Cincinnati police officer on Thursday. Here's what we...
Man, shut up. Listen, man, I get it, but to say he didn't show no remorse, man, you act like he didn't take a loss. This man is more than his child, bro. Yeah, and he did something. He made a stupid decision out of anger, but that's how he felt. He could make an eye for an eye. It doesn't make it right what he did, but he felt like he could make an eye for an eye. He's not going to be happy. He's not going to be like, bro, come on, man. He just lost his kid. Mentally, he's probably not all there. That's a dark time in a parent's life, losing a child, man.
We learned from court earlier this morning after that tense appearance, surrounded by dozens of deputies inside and outside the courtroom. We're learning more details from the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office about what's now being called a deliberate attack. Prosecutors say witnesses watched Hinton stop his car outside of graduation ceremonies for students at the University of Cincinnati, then ram the recently retired deputy who was outside his vehicle conducting traffic, ultimately ending his life. Now, the defense explained that this has been an emotionally charged week for Hinton after his son was killed by that Cincinnati police officer on Thursday. Meanwhile, Hinton is going to be held at the Clermont County Jail by the judge's order for his safety until a no bond appearance is set to determine whether or not he'll be held as that judicial process plays out.
Police say he...
Very unfortunate situation. Rodney, rest in peace. And to that officer, rest in peace. And love and condolences to you guys' families. We send 11 prayers y'all way, and whoever else was affected by the story we just talked about.
Right.
I'm not here to blame, I'm just here to present the facts. But God knows I can't fathom losing my son. And I'm sure as many others that's listening to this story can agree with me. So none of us truly know how we will react. I'm praying for everyone in this story. It's time for you guys to talk to me in the comments. Fam, this was the story of a Cincinnati man who took matters into his own hands by taking the life of an officer after his son was killed less than 24 hours prior by the hands of an officer. Let me know how you feel in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And today, I'll catch you.
Yeah. All right. That was called A Father's Vengeance, 24 hours after his son was killed on camera in Cincinnati. That's on the Family Channel. And let's give him a like. All right, boom. Yeah, man. So let's say this. Again, he wasn't right how he went about getting justice. Going to kill a random cop doesn't make it right. The cops wasn't right, I would say, as of right now, until they present the right evidence. I don't think just me personally, I'm kind of like, just hearing like it's been 6 shootings in the last 6 weeks and 4 of them was fatal. And it's just like, this is seem like they're just on edge. The cops are on edge in that city right now. It's a lot of shootings going on, obviously, with cops, and, it's just kind of like losing a son can definitely spark off. It's right now. Like, if you're watching right now, you have a child. Like, imagine losing your child. Like, the pain, the thoughts you may have, the actions you may want to take, and some actually live out those actions. Some actually will do them. You know what I mean? That's why it's like some mental shit. Even if you lost somebody before, losing a mother, losing a father, like the pain of death can send you down a dark, dark path, dark thoughts. So, my only thing is this, right? I don't condone that he just killed a random cop. I don't condone that. I don't feel like there's no justice validated there. Now, where I would be like, okay, I get that, is if he was like, if he went and killed and actually killed the cop that killed his son, then I would be like, okay, I get that. I can understand that. That still doesn't make it right, but I get it. Now, going to kill a random guy who retired, who had nothing to do with nothing with your son case, just happens to be, associated because he's a cop as well. And I'm a retired at this point. I'm just here helping on my, I could be at home doing some other shit, and then you come kill me. That's fucked up. So really, everybody took a loss in this situation, man. All parties, condolences to all the families, man. Rest in peace to the officer. Rest in peace to the child, the young man that got killed. And it's just senseless, man. It's stupid. And, niggas got to find a way to make this shit better, man. This shit ain't cool. And this shit could have spun off and went even crazier. Luckily, it stopped there. Like, what's to say he didn't, hop out with a gun and start shooting other cops or getting other people killed and shooting random people. This is a college graduation going on, so a lot of people could have been hurt. So let me know what y'all think in the comment section, man. Make sure y'all smash a like. This is ABP Reactions. We're going to keep it going. Let me know y'all thoughts, man. Let's keep it going. And as always, get ready for the next reaction.